this is part of the not allowed to own property. You know, it's just a beginning. And the way that they've also brought in students are to share a house with an old age pensioner. They do work for them. They don't pay, or a minimal amount, and they do work for them. They share their houses. Old people mustn't live in a big house on their own. Everyone has to share.
It's not just old people. If you've got a young couple who's got a 3-bedroom house, they've got to allow students or somebody else into the 2 spare bedrooms. It's absolutely disgraceful. They are not going to allow you to own your own homes and do what you want with them, basically.
You've got a community thing there, Carol. We had an article in the last UK column. If you just tell Neil about that, this is what the vision of the future from the core cities. People have a look. Core cities, localism and regionalisation. Okay, local communities.
It says, could there be a more elaborate plan for a very modern medieval system of serfdom and leak-proof control of it? Imagine in a future dwelling place in a core city being awoken by your integrated smart meter in time to catch your integrated transport to your integrated community place of work, in your integrated labour team, in compulsory community activities, in the production fields outside your safety zone. Scary stuff.
Well, it's very similar to what was going on in 1984, where the people just they lived in these Soviet-style blocks, and they worked in the factories. I've spent a bit of time in Eastern Europe, and those things are still there.
Are they?
Well, I mean, they're not used in the same way, but the factories and all that are still there. And most of them are kind of derelict, but they've still got the housing blocks that they built there, just specifically for the workers right next to the factory.
Yep.
And that was their whole life. They weren't allowed to go anywhere else. They had to go just work and go back to their homes, walk back. They couldn't go anywhere.
It's terrible, isn't it? I mean, when you look into all these things, when you go on the internet, please, listeners, go on the internet and research it for yourselves. When you go into it all, like I said just now, it's absolutely plain to see what they're doing, and it's absolutely plain to see that all these so-called conspiracy theories are actually conspiracy fact, and it's absolutely disgraceful because they're not even trying to hide their intentions anymore. It's all there in black and white. You've only got to research it for yourselves.
Sorry, Neil.
No, can I?
Yeah, the transport systems. I don't know much about the transports, what the changes are in the US or across the world. But here we've got the HR2, which they're trying to bring in, a fast-track rail network, which if you go to Venusberg 2004, written by Bertelsmann, you'll see that it was a paper on the future of defence, EU defence, and you can see in there that it's a long document. I think it was 36 pages, but they do state that they will need. Remember, this was 2004. It was written, so the plan was there before that too. They will need a fast-track rail network to transport troops from one part of Europe to another, to help local communities in trouble spots across Europe. So you can see the plan of why this had to be put in place, and people just don't have a clue.
And the Channel Tunnel. That had to be put in place as well, the Channel Tunnel, because, before we were an island, and to get to us, they had to either get on a boat or fly over, but now a fast-speed train can come through that tunnel in, 20 minutes? Something like that. It's absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to note the influence or input that Siemens and Deutsche Bahn Schenker had in the Olympics in Greece. They were left with dreadful debts because of all the surveillance network that was put in and the metro that was put in, and they owe an awful lot of money to Deutsche Bank and Siemens.
Well, we know that wherever the Olympics is held, or the World Cup, or or whatever it is, there's always a massive debt left behind.
Yes.
And in London in particular, it's going to be horrendous because they're going to have these paratroopers on the streets with their submachine.
25,000, isn't it? 25,000?
Yeah, and a Royal Navy destroyer, is it, sitting on the Thames?
Now that amazes me, Neil, because a naval destroyer sitting on the Thames. I mean, what are they expecting to happen? For goodness' sake, it's absolutely horrendous. They have literally destroyed our military. I think our army now is so small it couldn't even defend us if we were attacked across the water, leave alone anywhere else. And they've destroyed the navy. Most of our navy is in control of France now. France controls our navy, isn't it? Farcical.
Well, they control the harbour as well, but the ferry port down at Dover as well, don't they?
Sorry?
I think the French own the beaches on the coast down in Dover.
Yeah. And so we've got no military now to defend us. So when they do send these Euro troops through the tunnel, we've got nothing. They made sure we've got no guns. I mean, I thank God that America are strong enough and forceful enough to say, no, you're not taking our guns, because I know the Obama administration has been trying to do that. But whatever you do, America, do not give up your guns, because you're going to need them. We are all going to need guns. God knows where we're going to get them from over here, but we absolutely are going to need them. What is coming is something out of a horror film. It really is. It's horrendous what's coming, unless we can stop them.
Well, I think the police over here and the politicians keep telling us that tasers are unlethal weapons. So there's no reason why the public shouldn't have them then.
Absolutely.
So why can't we go out and buy a taser to defend ourselves? Because I'm damn sure the police aren't going to do it.
But of course, we have to blame. We get so many problem, reaction, solution. They're using this. US must have seen this as well, where they use these. An incident is created. They don't know why it happened. They don't know who the people are, their background. Something dreadful happens, and then they bring in more restrictions, control, enforcement. It's everywhere. Surely people can see it by now.
Well, there's a lot of shotguns still out there in Britain with people who have joined shooting clubs who play pigeon shooting and that kind of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some lone nut strolling down the street with a shotgun again pretty soon, and taking out a few people, and then you'll hear the cries for we need to do something with these shotguns, we need to get them off the streets, blah blah. Only the criminals can have guns, I mean,
keep it bad, and if they keep it bad, they can bring in more enforcement and more control.
Yeah, I mean, I think this farce of putting the troops on the streets of the Olympics, the surface-to-air missiles. I think I wrote a bit of satire there a while ago about that, in relation to, are they expecting a load of nasty Arabs to come over on flying carpets? I mean, what are they going to shoot down? I mean, are they going to shoot down an airliner? Well, I mean, is that what they're going to do? They're going to say an airliner's been hijacked? Well, I mean...
they'll let them hijack airliners, and then when they've done that, they'll give them houses and all the money they want. They'll make them very welcome and say, come into Britain, take everything you can get. That's what they did with the last plane that was hijacked here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about trying to hijack an airplane in this country. I mean, anybody going through airports here. I mean, we've got the same thing. Comparing it to America again, as the TSA over there. I mean, they're not quite as bold here to stick their hands down your pants yet, but I'm sure that'll come. But the last 4 times I've tried to leave Britain on the plane, I've been stopped and searched, and they keep telling me it's random, and I keep telling them it's not. And the last time, this, I mean, horrendous woman. I don't know if she was a woman, but she portrayed herself as a woman. Was saying to me, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're making this up. How the machine just picks people out at random?" I says, "So you're telling me it doesn't work? It just picks people out at random. It's not a metal detector at all. Then that's what you're telling me."
Yeah.
I said, "So it's 4 times out of 4 random." And she says, "Are you trying to say we're picking on you, sir?" I says, "No, but facial recognition cameras tend to do that kind of thing for you." And she says, "We don't have them." I says, "Oh yes, you do," and then she just walked off. You know.
Yeah. I mean, the police now are absolutely horrendous too. I don't know. Well, I know that they're bad in America, but I don't know about the rest of Europe. But here in Britain, the way they treat people, ordinary people, is absolutely disgraceful. They're just thugs. A lot of them, simply thugs.
It's the way they're trained, though. It's the new training.
It's not their fault. It's the new training. But their attitude now is them and us. I mean, instead of protecting us, they're attacking us.
The video that Brian showed me the other day when I was down in the office about the guy who was pulled over in his Range Rover for not wearing a seatbelt.
Yes.
Oh, 73, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, he was an old fella, yeah. But for American listeners, I'll try and get hold of that video and get it up on the website later. So you can have a look at it. Basically, this guy gets pulled over in his Range Rover. Some young thug comes running up to the car, trying to smash the window in. Another one of them jumps up in the bonnet, kicking the windscreen in. A member of the public who we'll need a lot more of started coming over to see what they were playing at. He was dragged off by another goon, and they continued to smash this guy's car up and dragged him out and charged him with some kind of assault, I think. At the end of the day.
Yeah, they charged him with assault.
They're out of control. They really are. It's the training they get.
And all he did was not put a seatbelt on. I
think the outcome of that though was that they had to pay something like £30,000 compensation to the guy, but nothing happened to the police officers.
No, this is the thing. You know? Nothing ever does happen to them. They're not accountable.
And about something else, Neil. I don't know whether your listeners know this too. Our European Union, the commissioners and all the people that work for them are absolutely above the law. They cannot be prosecuted for anything. It doesn't matter what they do. They can kill, they can lie, they can steal, which they're stealing all the time anyway. But they are absolutely above the law. They've not even been elected, these people. They've been selected by their so-called government. And these people are literally above the law. Now, I don't know about America, but one of the things that we loved about Britain was that the law was for everybody. It's supposed to protect everybody. But it also criminalized people that did criminal things. So why are these people who are unelected, nothing to do with our country, can come over here and do exactly what they want, or from where they are do exactly what they want, and we can't have any redress? We're not allowed to see their records. They don't have to show us minutes of their meetings. They can do and say and act on anything they want, and they cannot be prosecuted. Now, if America is having the same sort of thing over there, it's about time the people are en masse stood up and said, no, we're not putting up with it anymore. It's ridiculous. Why should anybody be above the law?
Well, I mean, it appears that the United Nations are certainly above the law, because there was 16 kilograms of cocaine posted to their office to somebody. Just coincidentally it was discovered by somebody, but they don't know who it was for or who posted it or anything. But that was only what they admitted to. I wonder what else was in the building.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And what were they having these parties like Mr. Mandelson had when he was over to Russia and shares the sauna with the Rothschilds, declaring that it wasn't business, it was pleasure. Well, I'm sure with Mandelson it certainly was. But you know, those police officers, the irony of that case is that you know, they're fined they have to pay compensation of £30,000 of whatever it was. But that's taxpayers' money. We're paying for the vandalism of police officers who aren't being prosecuted at all. I mean, if there was any justice, those guys would have their houses taken off them and sold and pay that fine themselves.
I think you'll find also all the enforcement agencies which have been brought in are also immune from prosecution, because they're all brought in under EU legislation, so that we'll all have immunity from prosecution and that they will not be accountable to anybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the whole farce of diplomatic immunity was all about, so that the politicians could come and go on private airlines. They don't have to go through airports, they don't have to go through scanners or any of that stuff if they don't want to. and they can carry those cases through. They don't get